Hi everyone, in this video we are going to discuss control statements in Python. Before going to start today's lecture, let us try to recall what have we discussed in our lecture 24. In lecture 24, we discussed clearly about type conversion concept. From that, you learned what is type conversion, what is type casting, do we lose the data in explicit type conversion, do we use any built-in functions for explicit type conversion. If you haven't watched that video, please go through that. The link is given in the description box. After watching this video, you will be able to know about sequential execution, need of control statements, categories of control statements, importance of indentation in Python, implementation of if statement. You can download the notes of this video. The link is given in the description box. First, let us try to understand what is the need of control statements. By default, the statements in the program are executed sequentially from the first to last. This type of the execution is called sequential execution. The meaning is, if you develop any Python program, the program will be executed in the sequential order in which order you developed that code. The first statement will be executed first, next the second statement, next the third statement, and so on. Finally, the last statement will be executed. So this type of the execution is called sequential execution. This sequential execution is suitable to develop simple programs. But if you want to develop any critical programs, complex programs, the sequential execution program may not be required, because to execute critical programs, the execution flow must be changed. For that, we use control statements. So the control statements are used to change the flow of the execution. For example, if you want to execute fifth statement after the second statement, you can do that. If you want to skip some statements, you can skip. Or if you want to execute one statement or set of the statements multiple times, also you can execute with help of the control statements. The flow of the execution we can control with help of this control statements concept. The categories of the control statements in Python are selection statements, transfer statements, and iterative statements. These are the three categories available in Python. First one is selection statements, or you can use branching statements also, or you can say conditional statements also. All are valid. The selection statements are used to execute a single statement or block of statements based on the expression. So this expression is called Boolean expression. This Boolean expression is used to frame a condition. Based on this condition value, some statement may be executed or may not be executed. Suppose if the condition is true, the following statements will be executed. To frame this condition, we use comparison operators, or comparison operators are also called relational operators. We covered these operators in detail in our lectures. If you haven't watched that, you can go through relational operators video. And we can use logical operators also to frame the conditions. These two operators are useful in controlling flow of the program. Based on that condition value, some statements may be executed, some statements may be skipped also. For example, printing good morning or good evening based on time of the day. If the time of the day is 9 AM, you will get the output good morning. If the time is 6 PM, you may get the output good evening. Like this, Based on that condition value, the flow of the execution will be decided. In the conditional statements also, we have three categories mainly. First one is if statement, second one is if else statement, and the third one is if elif else. Elif means this is just like a short form for the else if. In C language, CPP, Java, we use else space if, but here we need to write elif, elif, elif. This is similar to else if ladder in C, CPP, Java programming languages. And one more important point is, in C, CPP, Java, we have one more selection statement called switch case statement. But this switch case statement is not available in the Python. Let us start our discussion about if statement. If statement is used to execute single statement or multiple statements, or you can say block of the statements, depending on whether the given condition is true or false. See the syntax of the if statement. If is a keyword, space, we need to frame a condition, or you can say it is a Boolean expression. After that condition, we need to write colon symbol. Then in the next line, if you want to execute single statement, you can write the single statement. Otherwise, if you want to execute multiple statements, how many statements you want to execute, you can write that many statements. This is the syntax of if statement. Here the important point is, after the colon, you can observe we are giving space here. This is used to indicate all the statements are within the block of if. This space is also called indentation. This indentation is used to specify a particular block. In C-based programming languages, we use curly braces to create the block. But in Python programming language, we use indentation to represent the block. If condition is true, then statements will be executed. If this condition is true, what are the statements we have written within the block, within the same level of the indentation, those will be executed. As I said, indentation is very important in Python programming. In the if syntax, we observe that after the colon symbol, start a block with increased indent. After the colon symbol, in the next line, we must give a space. Indentation is equals to 4 spaces. If you use any IDE, by default, the indentation will be created after the colon. One or more statements written within the same level of the indent will be executed if the given condition evaluates to true. So what are the statements you want to execute as a if block? You must write all the statements with the same level of the indent. That is very, very important point. To end the block, decrease the indentation. In C-based programming languages, to close the block, we use closing curly braces. But here we are not using any curly braces. Then how to represent end of the block? For that, we must decrease the indentation again. Decrease the indentation represent end of a particular block. Subsequent statements after the block will be executed out of the if condition. If you write any statement with a decreased indent, those statements doesn't have any relation with if. See the example, it will be more clear to you. See the first example to understand how to implement if and what is the importance of the indentation. See, very simple example. See the fifth statement, if 5 less than 10. So this is the condition. If is a keyword, 5 less than 10 is a condition. And colon. So you can observe here in the sixth statement, we are giving indentation. If you give the indentation at the beginning of the statement, the meaning is the statement within the block of if. So sixth and seventh statements are within the if block. And you can observe the eighth statement, we decrease the indentation again. The meaning is the eighth statement is out of the if. Now see the logic, if 5 less than 10, print 5 is less than 10. If this condition is true, 5 less than 10, yes, the condition is true. Then what are the statements we have written within the if? Those will be executed. So first statement, 5 is less than 10, that will be executed. After that, the seventh statement is also within the if block, right? So that will be also executed as a part of the if block. Second line within the same block. After the execution of if statement, the eighth statement also executed. For example, if the condition value is false, then what are the statements we have written within the if block? Those will not be executed. Only eighth statement will be executed. First, let us try to execute this program. See, the output is 5 is less than 10. Second line within the same block. And after the if block statements, eighth statement output is this line is out of the if block, right? For example, if I write greater than in place of the less than. Now see, if 5 greater than 10, in this case the condition evaluates to false because 5 greater than 10 is false. In this case, these statements will not be executed. What are the statements we have written as part of the if? Those will be skipped. And eighth statement is out of the if, so that will be executed as it is. Let us execute this. Observe the output. The output is this line is out of the if block. That is the only output of this program. Now it's clear, I hope. See one more example. Here we are going to find the largest of the given 3 numbers. We need to enter 3 numbers at runtime. We need to find out which number is largest of those 3 given numbers. As we covered already in our lectures, input method is used to receive the values at runtime. And this is type conversion. I want to convert that received value into integer type because the return type of the input method is string type. So this is used to receive number 1 value, and fifth statement is used to receive the second number. When you enter the second number, I want to store that number into number 2 variable. And again, it prompts you to enter third number. You need to enter third number. So that entered value will be stored in number 3 variable. So here we are implementing the logic by using simple if statement. If the condition is number 1 greater than number 2, and this is logical AND operator, we covered already. Number 1 greater than number 3. Observe this eighth statement, number 1 greater than number 2 and number 1 greater than number 3. In this case, we can say that number 1 is greatest of 3 number. So I want to print that. Print number 1 is largest. Okay, you can observe the indentation here. So number 1 may or may not be the greatest. Number 2 may also a greatest number or largest number. For that also we need to write the condition. We need to check all the cases. 11th statement, if number 2 greater than number 1 and number 2 greater than number 3. If this is true, here we are using multiple conditions. Generally, the multiple conditions are combined with help of logical operators. So if this is true, we can say that number 2 is largest. And this is for testing of number 3. If number 3 greater than number 1 and number 3 greater than number 2. If these two conditions are true, then we can say that number 3 is largest. I think it's clear. Execute it. So now see, enter first number. I'm going to enter 20 as a first number. Enter second number. I'm entering 60. Enter third number. Entering 87. Number 3 is largest. Okay. Check your knowledge. What you learned from this lecture. What is sequential execution? What is the need of control statements? What are the categories of control statements? What is the use of indentation in Python? How to write Python program to find the largest of 3 given numbers. If this video is useful to you, do subscribe the channel, like and share the videos. Thank you for watching.